when the world has got you down. And
Alzheimer's sucks. It's an equal opportunity disease that chips away at everything we hold dear. And to date, there's no cure. So until there is, we continue to fight with the most powerful tool in our arsenal, love. This is Love Conquers Alls, a real and really positive podcast that takes a deep dive into everything Alzheimer's, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And now, here's your hosts, Susie Singer-Carter and Cassie Cruz.
all you gotta do is sing a song.
Hey, I'm Susie Singer-Carter.
And I'm Cassie Cruz. Welcome to the very first episode of Love Conquers All.
Woohoo! We are so excited
to provide a platform for those of us touched by Alzheimer's.
Which there's way too many. So thank you for joining us. And we just hope this becomes a place for you to share feelings and your fears and frustrations and guilt, of which we all share, being caregivers, and of course, invaluable resources.
You mean like practical tips for caregivers during the holidays?
Yes, I do, Cassie. And we have such a great guest today. Her name is Connie Chow.
Yay.
And And Connie, who was a caregiver to her grandmother for 20 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So she really knows all the challenges and everything that comes along with being a caregiver. And from that, she launched her website called dailycaring.com, and it's free website that has an email newsletter, and it has practical care tips for caregivers that are caring for seniors of all kinds, not just Alzheimer's and dementia.
Awesome.
Yeah. What I'm excited about is she's got these amazing tips for how to deal with your loved one with Alzheimer's and dementia during the holidays, which is already stressful enough.
Exactly. This is perfect timing.
Yeah. So, it's inherently stressful. And then you add caregiving to the mix. It's like your cortisol levels are going through the roof, right?
Actually, according to Connie, it really doesn't have to be so hard.
I'm so excited. So should we bring her on?
Let's bring her on.
Connie, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh my
here.
God. Thank you for coming. And we're so excited. And I just barely touched on how you started dailycaring.com, but I would love to hear what motivated you to get into the senior industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you so much for having me, for inviting me on. And also, I want to say I love the title of this podcast, Love Conquers Alls. That is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay,
We love it too.
because we know that love does conquer everything, and we also believe that it's not going to cure it. We hope that we find that, but that's not what this is about. It's more about like, how do we cope and motivate us to stay positive and seek whatever we need until we find a cure.
Yep, absolutely. And really that is the key. We have to be loving and kind and patient with each other, and that it's in some ways it's like half the battle, right?
Totally. Yes.
So,
right. It's how we show up.
Yes, exactly. So like you said, I am a former caregiver. I cared for my grandmother for many, many years. And
the caregivers are the unsung heroes of this world. I champion every single one of them. That is why I made my movie, Broken Memories. And I champion you and all caregivers out there, because you are not alone, even though I know it feels like a very lonely place. That's why we wanted to make this podcast for people like you.
Yes.
That's something that we hear a lot at Daily Caring, is that people feel alone. But, the three of us, we know there's a huge army out there of caregivers who are doing all this hard work every minute of every day. And so we are not alone.
When my mom was first diagnosed, I didn't know anything about Alzheimer's at all. I mean, I really didn't. And I spent a long time trying to talk my mom out of it. Mom, you're going to get through this. We're going to,
right.
You have Alzheimer's, but we're going to nip it in the bud.
How'd that go, Susie?
Oh, it went so bad.
We learn as we go.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. I tried.
Yes. And that counts for a lot. So, it really was caring for my grandmother that, inspired me to start dailycaring.com. So we have this website and we have a daily email newsletter to help families who are caring for older adults and provide the information and resources that they really need. And so that's why I always encourage people to sign up for our emails, because you're so busy thinking about the person you're caring for and just taking care of life. So let us do the work of delivering that useful information so you don't have to go out and search for it.
Absolutely.
That's a fantastic resource. And so everything's in one place. That's a great gift.
And a lot of people aren't close to organizations or even support groups. So this is great.
And they don't feel they have support from their families, and they don't know where to go, and they're overloaded, and they're barely just trying to get through day to day. You think they have time to search online to actually find more resources for themselves or what's good tips to help them? It's difficult.
Yeah,
it is. Absolutely. And we hear from those folks all the time. And so, we're glad that they have a place to come to ask us questions, and hopefully, we can help with the information and the resources that we're aware of.
That's fabulous. You know what? Let's take a quick break and then come back and get more awesome information. And we're back. You're listening to Love Conquers Alls. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Cassie Cruz, and I'm Susie Singer-Carter, and we're speaking with Connie Chow of dailycaring.com.
The holidays are generally just I think tough on everyone, right?
Yes.
So, but of course, especially if you have these health conditions to deal with, and especially if somebody has dementia, Alzheimer's. So I rounded up some of our tips from the Daily Caring website. We have so many great gift idea articles. And so we've broken them up into, we have one for seniors with dementia, one for just our giant list. We have ones for older women, ones for older men, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely visit our website to get all of the ideas. But how to help people with Alzheimer's, some of the key points to remember are really to reset expectations. So both yours and other family members.
Yes.
What are those?
Oh my
How
God,
do we reset?
That's so true, because I literally went shopping for gifts last week, and I thought, well, I'm going to get her some awesome lounge pajamas and some awesome, soft socks that she'll be comfy in. And then I think, am I doing this for me or her? So what do you think?
Yeah, we hear about things like that a lot. And first of all, I think those are wonderful gifts. I think, you're really thinking about her and how you can make her life just, on a daily basis, more comfortable and more enjoyable. And, we all love loungewear and cozy socks, right? So
right.
I'm sure she would love them. In terms of, one thing we do here is that, does the person know? Do they care? And I think that's a really important topic because, even if somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, even if they can't necessarily express themselves in words, or show you in some way that they are acknowledging what you're doing for them or acknowledging that they want to thank you. Even though they can't do that, that doesn't mean that you're not positively affecting them. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Because look at when somebody doesn't know that you're there, but if you're rubbing their feet and putting lotion on their dry skin and their feet, whether they know it at that moment or not, that it's better for their body, better for their soul. And there's going to be that appreciation even if they can't express it.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's how I feel about going and visiting because, I know we all have experienced, people that can't really face their family member that has Alzheimer's or dementia because
they're in denial or they're upset or they're angry and they don't want to believe it's true or they don't know how to love in that situation. And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So and a lot of it is the mindset that, if I go, they're not going to remember that I was there. Well, maybe not in the way that we remember. Right. But that feeling of love permeates for quite a long time.
It can be really hard for people to accept that, this is really a big change in the way that you interact, right? It does become kind of one-sided, but there's a great quote and it's about how, people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
That's Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
I love her.
I love her too. And I think that that's so true. And with the case of Alzheimer's, and maybe they can't express to you that they feel good, but I think that they do.
They still will feel because we all have feelings and even if they react in a negative way because of whatever's going on with their Alzheimer's situation, because, it's a very fearful place. It could be from that side of not remembering. It doesn't mean that in the long run, if you go there And even if it was a negative experience on the appearance, it doesn't mean that it wasn't worthwhile.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. Well, considering that we've all agreed it's a good thing to bring some presents, whether or not they go, oh my God, I love it. So maybe you could give us some ideas besides pajamas.
So we spend a ton of time just, racking our brains, scouring the internet, thinking of awesome ideas for gifts for somebody with dementia. And so our approach is that, kind of like what you were thinking is, when you give a gift, you want to make someone happy. So we're focusing on things that are fun and enjoyable and that bring comfort. And so, similar to the loungewear and the socks, we have a lot of great sensory type items like fidget quilts, massage balls, weighted blankets, and also some fun games and activities for a variety of ability levels and interests. Because, everybody's different. Everybody's at a different place, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we put together this list, and we have prices that range from as low as $6 to some, a few items at more like $100. Most of the stuff is very affordable though. So, really it's about thinking about the person and what they like and what they're still able to do. So one of my favorite gifts are the puzzles that are designed for people with dementia. So these have beautiful pictures and nice big pieces that are easy to hold. And then usually they're around 36 pieces, which is pretty manageable for a lot of folks with dementia. And also they have custom photo puzzles.
Oh, I love that. I was just going to say that. That's a phenomenal idea. Hello. That is so good. And every time they put it together, they're rewarded because it's someone that they love.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And so, those are it's like a fun activity or it's a special memory. So that's a great one. That's kind of
you guys,
universal.
That's awesome. That is brilliant, genius. I'm going to do that. When you go to visit your mom or your dad or anybody else that you love, a lot of times you're like, okay, now what do I do? Because you talk. And then for me, we sing music because music is magical.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's absolutely magical and connective. Also, check this out. When you do those puzzles, maybe you can do memory puzzles. It's not just about who you love, though, Susie, right? It's like, because the long-term memory is more intact than the short-term memory, right?
Yes.
So when they were children, or pictures of when you guys were children.
Totally.
And then having that picture puzzle. That'd be cool. And you know what sometimes the best gifts are that I think, and tell me what you think about this, Connie, just exactly what Susie said. Like, I would make up songs for my ex-boyfriend's Graham. We cared for her for 2 years. So I would always make up songs and we'd sing and we'd laugh and we'd say, and we do silly stuff. And it was just the moments together that made the difference.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I think number one, music is fantastic. I mean, really for anybody, but especially for somebody with dementia, it really can reach a different part of the brain, and it's so much easier to enjoy and to engage with. And just having fun, laughing, like that's the best. That goes back to the whole feeling good, that's amazing. And then being able to spend time together and to know that you're not being left alone.
You mentioned a couple gifts and that really intrigued me, like the weighted blanket. And I think you mentioned
massage balls.
Yes, the massage balls.
Yeah. So, well, number one, I do have to give a shout out to weighted blankets. I have one myself, and I can't live without it. It is amazing. It's great for
tell us
anyone.
about what does it do?
Oh my gosh. So they've really exploded in popularity. I have to say, it's really something. It's for anybody, honestly. And the extra pressure and weight on your body, kind of gets your body into this relaxed state, just physically.
And so they talk about that with with dogs as well, when they have the shirts or the or whatever that have the tightness on them to help the stress.
Well, there's also, and there's the concept of swaddling babies is the same thing. It feels safe.
Oh, exactly. It is that same principle, and it encourages your body to relax. And I have to say, it really works. It's amazing. You have to try it.
No, this is great because especially for people who are like when my mom moved in with me, it was it was like I walked her over the bridge. She lived with me for a year, and it was the tough time when she was like, she was fighting Alzheimer's tooth and nail. And so
Yeah.
she would get agitated, and
Yes.
wow, that would have been so helpful, because anything to ease their agitation is very welcome.
For caregivers as well, it's a super stressful job, right? In terms of gifts for somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, things like fidget quilts are fantastic. And I don't think it's something that everybody's necessarily heard of before.
I've never heard of it. Can you tell us about it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So these are things where, and you basically, you can be creative about it. So the main idea is that you have a soft, comfortable thing. Let's call it maybe a quilt or a pillow or something, or even they do aprons. So that's the surface that you're working with, right? You attach on there a variety of different things, like buttons or zippers or ribbons. So you can fiddle with all of these things, or like you attach different things. And some of them are really creative. Like they can customize it based on somebody's past career or their hobbies, things like that. And so you put all these things onto this, a quilt or a pillow or whatever, and then the person can sit with it in their lap and comfortably fiddle around with it. Of course, you want to make sure everything is safe and attached well, etc. But then they can kind of soothe themselves with this activity that's calming and comforting and keeps their hands free.
So not like buttons where they could pull them off and eat them in case they think they're candy or something, right? So
well, you just have to be careful. You have to, you can do buttons, but just make sure they're really well attached. I would check them frequently, But people really enjoy those kind of.
But I think at different stages you can exchange different fiddle things, because you're right, Cassie. Like I think my mom, if it looked like candy, she'd be trying to eat it.
Of course, because that's not that they don't have that memory, maybe, and I don't know. I'm just speaking, out loud on that. But I want to do this real quick. We just want to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back. And let's talk about caregiver gifts when we get back.
Yeah. Okay.
Guess what? We're back. Welcome.
That was fast. Okay.
We're quick.
I love it.
Want to say that we were talking about caregiver gifts. Connie, can you help us find some of those?
That's important.
Yeah, because we caregivers, we like gifts.
And you guys, and by the way, sometimes the caregivers need to give our own
gifts. We deserve gifts.
Yeah, if someone doesn't give you a gift, by all means, get your own gift. Buy yourself a gift. You deserve it.
Yes, we all do.
Yeah. So what do you have for caregivers? What do you think would be great? I would say my first guest is a massage.
Oh, that is on our list. So we do have an article about that and on our website. And so one of them, you're spot on, one of them is massage. But what we liked, the approach that we took with this article was that, okay, we have these great ideas, right? But we know the reality of being a caregiver. So yes, it's great to get a massage, right? Like
but
a gift
sometimes
certificate
you don't
for
have
massage.
time to get it.
Yes, that's
bingo.
What if I can't, I don't have the opportunity to leave the house to actually get the massage, right? So like the add-on to that gift would be to find some way to either take over or pay for some help, just so that you can actually go out and take advantage of that time for yourself to relax.
That's awesome. And you know what? I think, okay, so I'm seriously a sandwich generation, because I have my mom, and now my daughter just had a baby. Yeah, so we have a little baby who's a month old.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And when you think about it, it's not dissimilar on how you caregive, because, and with all respect and love, but that is the cycle of life. So I will go and relieve my daughter and her husband and let them take a shower, or, let them go shopping by themselves, or whatever they want to do, just have some alone time, because it's stressful being a full-time newborn parent, right? And the same, I feel like it's the same. It's very similar to being a caregiver, where you can't, if you go take a shower and you have someone who is advanced stage of Alzheimer's, they could be out the door.
Yes, absolutely. It's, it's really that no matter who you're caring for, if this person is dependent on you, the responsibilities of caregiving are just consuming your entire life and yourself.
And sometimes a good gift is just having somebody watch that person for you, so you can take a nap.
Yes. We definitely mentioned that. You can definitely sense, when you read the article, the theme that goes through it is take over, find some, like pay for help, basically give you time away from caregiving, give you a break from it.
I love that. Because do you get a lot of people that feel guilty? Like I do feel guilty that if I
Yes.
don't spend, like, the days that I say I'm going to go see my mom, I get and I love her to death, but I will feel guilty.
Right.
And then I know, actually, my mom would say to me, if she was copus mentis, she'd say, you have a life to live your life, like I am, like, I don't
Right.
want to be a burden to you. Stop it. Get out of here. Go. What are you doing here? Right. But we
Right.
don't say it to ourselves. So we feel guilty. And I think, we have to remember that we do have our lives as well as being caregivers. We have to live a life that is fulfilling.
Yes, I agree. And then, there's a very popular saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you have to take care, or the other one that's very popular, like you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. I know they're very cliche,
no.
and people use
Lisa
all the time,
Gibbons
but
wrote a
it's so
book like
true.
that. You have to take your oxygen first, and
Yes.
and it's so true. And you do that. Where does that come from? It's like, being on an airplane. If you're a parent, you put your oxygen on first before your babies.
Yep, absolutely. Because, if something happens to you because you've gone, 1,000% all this time, then what good are you now if something happens to you, right? What good are you to the other person that you're trying to take care of?
You need to stay healthy. You need to be happy to be healthy. So,
yep, absolutely.
And I have a question for you, Connie. How did you,
yes,
as a caregiver for that many years, get through that?
Well, so it was really interesting. Number one, I'm very lucky that our whole family, took care of my grandmother as well. I kind of became her primary caregiver, especially in the last couple of years. But we did have the support of our family as well.
Do you think that's cultural, Connie? Do you think that, because we tend to see a lot of different cultural responses to our seniors that are different in each culture, right? And do you think, what your background or your nationality is?
I am Chinese, so yeah, it is there. There definitely could be. I would, of course, I would always say that every family is different, but there are some cultural trends, I would say, that are, more like some cultures have that culture of always, taking care of older family members, and others don't emphasize that as much. So there can be that going on as well.
Yeah, because I think I saw that at least in the Latino community, that my mom's caregiver, who was Guatemalan. We're Jewish. My mom would go to the Guatemalan church every Sunday because she was La Reina, which is the queen, because they revere. And my mom would be there in her Chicos and her Dooney and Burke purse, and she'd be like, "Buenos dias, soy Nanny."
That is amazing. How fun is that? That's fantastic.
It was fabulous, and she loved it. She loved it because they were like, "Oh, Nanny's here," because they called her Nanny, because my kids call her Nanny.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was so delightful. And it was like, and my nieces and nephews never visit my mom. So it's so, so I did see it within our, just a little difference. That's why I was asking.
But the other thing that I think happens a lot is that, especially now, it's like people work so hard. People don't live in the same cities, right?
Yes.
And so that really cuts down on the number of people who are around. And I think, life was simpler back when everybody just lived in the same place all together for their entire life.
Yes, 100%.
That was a lot simpler. So, so we definitely didn't have as many people around as would have been nice. So we definitely, so my grandmother was very lucky to have had pretty good physical health for most of her life until her mid-90s.
Wow.
And so the kind of earlier years of caregiving were more around advocating for her at the doctor, and making sure she got all of the care that she needed, health-wise, and just to keep her, on that good physical track. And then towards the end of her life, when she really just started to become, we're talking advanced age, right? So, she became more frail, had more mild memory decline or cognitive decline. And then she had some falls, and injuries. And so that's where really the care just ramped up. And then we did, so it's a full-time job, and we hired help as well. But even so, I was really there with her for a good, shoot, now that I think about it, it was like a good 8 to 12 hours a day.
Oh my God, Connie, you're like an angel.
How did you handle that for that amount of time, Connie? How did you continue? How did you have that sustainability?
It was, and I don't think that, I think that's the kind of thing that just happens. It's not like I set out to do that, but, in a lot of ways, you just do what needs to be done, right? And then you try to take care of yourself, and in the meantime, right, in your off hours, let's say. And then that's why we did hire some help as well, because nobody could do this 24/7, right? So and then we had some other family members as well, but it's still, everything just takes time.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And then what did you work, or did you take that on as your work?
No, actually at that time I had already started dailycaring.com. I was already a couple years into the journey and had been thinking about, forming Daily Caring for a while before then. So I was lucky in a sense to have that flexibility of working for myself and starting this company. And so that was really helpful. It's really challenging when you have a more structured, like a 9-to-5 job, where you're expected to be there during certain hours. That can definitely be more of a challenge. But so that's where I had that flexibility. So if something came up with my grandmother, I was able to go ahead and take care of it when it needed to be done.
But you know what? You're still an amazingly special person, because I mean, that's I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask you, but you have to have been very young when you started taking care of your grandma. And that's a beautiful thing. And it is rare. And I know that, just to share this with you, when I had my mom move in with me after my stepdad died, it was because she was having like Groundhog's Day, right? Like,
oh yeah.
And I felt I literally could not let her be alone. So I moved her, and I had my 16-year-old daughter with me. And I had so many people think that I was doing the wrong thing. Like, oh, how can you have her live with your daughter? It's so hard. It's going to be a burden to her, blah, blah, blah. And I had one of my friends who's a endocrinologist, and she's very, very intelligent. She said, "Are you kidding me? This is the best thing you could do."
That's what I was going to say. Why would you think that that's a bad thing? That's amazing.
Yeah. And by the by, a year later, when I did have to finally move my mom into a facility, my daughter said she wasn't ready for her to leave.
Oh, how sweet is that? I mean, I'm sure there were huge sacrifices that both you and your daughter had to make, but it is so meaningful to be able to be there.
It is. And and you learn so much. You learn so much about life. Like, you don't know until you walk in it.
Yes, absolutely. You don't know until you know.
Exactly.
And I think one thing that is important to mention is that I think some people feel very guilty if it is necessary to have the person they're caring for move to assisted living or more of a nursing care situation, or for Alzheimer's or dementia, a memory care situation. Yes. And I think that's not something that you should feel guilty about. I think the main goal is to make sure that they're well cared for. And that's not always something that can happen in the home, with just one or two people.
Because also it's about their safety. And if they don't know, and yes, like what Susie mentioned, like you're all of a sudden doing one thing and then they slipped out the door. And yep. And that could be very detrimental in so many ways. And when it gets to that point, that it's what is the best for the
them.
Person that's suffering
for them. Yeah.
And I know sometimes you're like, well, they're in a facility, it's better to be home, but okay, is it safe for them though? And can you be on their every whim, and it's very difficult, and it's a very hard place to be. When did you decide, Susie, to put your mom in a home?
My mom, it was after a year with me, and she was beginning to go through. She was extremely agitated, and then she started to get incontinent. I think was I realized that it was.
That's a tough situation.
Yeah, that was when I was like, I can't do this on my own, and even with just a caregiver, we needed professional help.
Is that what did you do, Connie? When did your grandma also go into assisted living, or?
With her, the situation actually worked out. It worked out well in a way. We were able to care for her up until the end.
Very nice.
So, but that's, I think, a lot of it, I think, is a combination of luck.
Yes.
It's not that you just have to, you go with the situation and you make the decisions that you need to make things work.
And sometimes it's financial. Sometimes and a lot of things force our hands financially. And like I mentioned before, Alzheimer's and dementia, they can be extremely long diseases. And so which is one of the reasons why this is such an important topic is that people are, we're getting bankrupt from it. Yeah. And so we need to figure that out. How do we, people run out of money. And
how do you navigate with that?
Yeah, but that's a whole nother show.
It's a whole other show.
So, well, wow, Connie, this just went so fast.
It really did. It has been so fun talking with you both.
We have to have Connie back, Cassie.
Oh, for sure.
Connie, I would love to come
back.
We're
so impressed with you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your stories and the stories about your grandmother and caregiving.
And everybody go to dailycaring.com, sign up for their newsletter. They have amazing information every day. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for dailycaring.com. Thank you for being Connie Chow. And
thank you to you, our listeners. We hope you liked our show. And if you did, please subscribe and share the podcast with others who are also dealing with Alzheimer's. We have so many incredible guests lined up.
So many,
to inspire and inform you. Bye. Thanks, Connie.
Thanks, Connie.
Bye. Thank you.